That's the worst a team could possibly look and the best a team could possibly look in the same game.
Yeah, that was a great football day for Mike Elko because he got the extension and then had the best comeback like in the history of the SEC.
Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover, and let's talk football.
We're a couple of average football fans that watch college in the NFL. We hope to earn your like and subscribe today. We have a new feature here at Saturday versus Sunday where you can now email us your thoughts about the game as you watch it or as soon as it's over. We always engage our listener, in comments, which happens after the pod is dropped. But now if you're lucky, your comments can be mentioned on the pod when we do the game review. So you can just email us at saturdayversussunday@gmail.com. So that's Saturday and then vssunday@gmail.com. And that email is going to be in the description. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that for our next review thing. But for today, this is our review of the Texas A&M South Carolina game. What are your initial thoughts?
That's the worst a team could possibly look and the best a team could possibly look in the same game.
Yeah, that was a great football day for Mike Elko because he got the extension and then had the best comeback like in the history of the SEC or whatever, like down 27 points, which has never happened, which is crazy.
I still don't know. Okay, so this is the challenge for an A&M fan. When you see a team play that bad for a half, and now obviously there's a team on the other side of the field who had to play well, right? Like it's not like you could play bad and the other team could also play bad,
mm-hmm.
but you gave up 30 points in a half, and you look like you had no idea how to play football. Actually my mid-game note was Marcel Reed just threw his way out of the Heisman. And then my final note was, he just threw his way right back into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that every now and then a good team has a bad game. Like that has happened. We've seen it before. It's really disappointing. It doesn't make sense. Like they have the personnel, they have the coaches, and like they should be better at that. This just seemed like I as bad as they looked in the first half, I'm still impressed by the comeback, because there would have been most times a team like that would have just lost that game down 27 points. So the fact that they were able to rebound, which also includes South Carolina choked a little bit, in order for it to come back and to win 31-30, which is pretty nuts.
It's hard to even put in. I mean, I have notes here and I don't even know. Okay, we can go through the notes. I'm trying to, Jesus Christ, it was a mess in that first half. I actually have a note here towards the end of the first half. I have a note here. It says, it looks like South Carolina knows exactly what play is coming every time.
Yeah, that is we've said this about South Carolina a few times. They're like 3-7 overall, which is not a good record, but their defense at times looks unbelievable. Like really good, like stopping everything, and as much as Texas A&M won this game 31-30, they had 64 yards rushing. Like they were never, they came back, but it was not running the ball. Like the South Carolina defense was stopping the run. So it's just, I can't believe South Carolina is just 3-7. I don't know. But they find ways to lose, including this game.
Yeah. I mean, you have to give A&M credit for the comeback, but you're right. South Carolina had a hand in just falling apart in this game. Like at the end of the first half, I'm not really going to take this in order. I'm just thinking of some highlights here. At the end of the first half, right, when Nick Harbor goes for that 80-yard touchdown for South Carolina, and they go up 27-3, and there's I don't know, a minute or something, not even a minute left. The crazy thing is they're still not done scoring. They score again. Like they get another field goal because Reed throws another interception. Like it with 35 seconds. It's just because I looked at my notes. I looked back. I'm like, wait, right. That was 27's not their score at half. It's 30, but there's less than a minute left. Let's go. Yeah, they get another one. And it just caps off how unbelievably bad that half went. It was just, I mean, you have some of your best players dropping open passes. Your what we think is your best player and your Heisman candidate throwing it to the other team just like it's his job. I mean, there was another interception that was. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I was going to say there's another interception.
The interception in the end zone was horrendous.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Casey Concepcion broke up another one. He had to actually defend Fred Johnson, the stud linebacker. He had one, and Concepcion turned into the defender there. So there could have been even another one. So, Jesus. I mean, I don't know. We could break it down play by play, but this was just a complete disaster of a first half. No matter how you look at it, they did everything essentially wrong. And I mean, oh my God. Okay, so the one fumble, Marcel Reed, the strip sack, whatever you want to call it, he looked like he just threw the ball backwards. Like what? Like it's almost like he panicked in that moment. It's like, dude, no, just take the sack. It's okay. Just take the sack.
Yeah, those turnovers were really bad. Like the turnovers are always really bad. They're one of the key things that happen in football. Like they can determine outcomes of games. But these ones, those interceptions and some of that play where they're trying to do the trick play at the end were like really bad. Like, and they looked
so bad.
They looked really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, the trick play at the okay, so we'll get to that in a second, but that was awful. And so on that okay, so where are we here? We're in the second quarter. Dalton Brooks. Okay, so this is a highlight in the second quarter for A&M. Dalton Brooks gets an interception, right, off of a tip with 10 minutes, three minutes remaining in the second quarter. So we got a little sign of life here. We have a little chance to steal momentum back. Then so you're first and goal on the 6-yard line off of an amazing interception. You go first and goal, run for no gain. Second and goal, Concepcion, one of your best players, drops a wide open TD pass in the end zone. Third and goal, incomplete out the back of the end zone, and then miss a field goal. Like even something as simple as just a 5-yard, 15-yard, whatever, the field goal like within the red zone, can't even do that. Like nothing, even the simplest thing they couldn't do in the first half.
Yeah. 2 fumbles. They like at the end for the whole game, they had 2 fumbles and they were 1 for 3 kicking. So like they're finding all kinds of ways of not making this work.
God. Yeah. And okay. So Jesus. I mean, Craver drops a perfect first down pass on one of the drives too. So it's a collective effort to be as bad as we could possibly be. It's like, oh, you're going to throw an interception? Well, then how about I drop a wide open touchdown? It's, oh, you drop one, I'll drop one. Like, it's just everywhere you look, everyone's making mistakes. And like I said, the one time they had a chance to steal momentum back on the interception, they botched that and don't even get the field goal. It's just a complete and utter unraveling of a team in a half, and another team capitalizing on all of it. You know what this reminds me of? What South Carolina did to OU last year. Last year, South Carolina was up like 27 points on OU in the first quarter, and it looked just like this. OU just completely fell apart. South Carolina's defense just steamrolled them, just like an avalanche.
And I think that, we've been talking a lot about Texas A&M for this game, and rightfully so, because they had a horrendous first half and then came back and won. But if you're a South Carolina fan, this was really difficult to watch because you see the flashes of brilliance by LaNorris Sellers, like really amazing. Like the long touchdown pass down the sideline was incredible. Like the highs are so high. And and they have a good defense. And if you could just put it together, they'd be unstoppable. But it was, they could not, they were a key part of this comeback because they generated nothing in the second half. If they got a field goal only in the third or fourth quarter, like they would have won the game. Like it's even with this amazing comeback, and so they have a big part in this game too.
Yeah. So in the first half, that is Heisman candidate Sellers. That's what we got in the first half.
Yes.
And in the second half, we got national championship level Texas A&M team, like overall. Oh boy. So
yeah, no, exactly.
My final note here for the first half is just what the F is going on. This was actually how my notes are for the end of the first half. It's just okay. I don't actually know what to make of this. I mean, they're obviously better than this, right?
Yeah.
So it's and whatever Elko says at halftime, he should bottle it and sell it because
exactly.
Holy smokes. I almost get the sense that Reed needs to be like do or die, maybe, or at least in this game, because he came out looking like he was there was just no way he was going to lose this game the way he started playing in the second half. And he has that unbelievable, I think we're going for it on 4th and 12 at midfield. And he has that unbelievable scramble.
Yeah.
And I think at that moment, it all switched right there. It's almost like that opened the door of hope and opened the for A&M, but also opened the door of doubt for South Carolina. And Reed, I think for Reed, he's like, oh yeah, I'm actually really good at this. Like I actually can scramble whenever I feel like it. I actually can throw passes. I can hit people. And then all of a sudden, the A&M avalanche started. And I think it all started off of that play.
No, and it was super critical for them to come out in the second half. If they were going to have any chance of coming back, it was to come out in the second half and score like that opening possession, right? So that absolutely had to happen. And like you said, a lot of credit has to go to the players for responding and not giving up because they were down 30-3. But also the coaching staff. Any of the halftime adjustments, whatever Elko said at halftime, like those things were critical, like in order for them to do it. And you can see the difference in the Reed and his box score, right? So in the first half, this is the same player. Like nothing super crazy happens like between two halves, like it's the same player. But in the first half, he was 6 for 19 for 141 yards and 2 interceptions. And then he ended up with 22 for 39 for 439. So that means almost 300 yards in the second half and 3 touchdowns. So that is a completely different, like it's the same player. Like he was the same guy in the first half, but they made some changes and he obviously really turned it around.
And 16 for 20 if those numbers work out in the second half. So he's just lights out. And these aren't chintzy passes. He's hitting people all over the field. He's hitting all different people. So, I mean, we got to give some everyone. Bethel Roman goes off. Concepcion goes off. I'm sure there's flowers to give to multiple other players here too. But the point is the entire team, led by Reed, at least the offense, just came to life. And that South Carolina's defense is no joke and had no answers at all for the entire second half. They just shredded them. They were just going up and down the field. Didn't matter. It's like in the first half how nothing worked. In the second half, everything worked. No matter what they called, it worked.
I'm going to push back on a little bit that everything was working because everything was working in the passing game. No running back for Texas A&M had more than 28 yards. So it was the passing game they gave up 300. South Carolina gave up 300 yards passing in the second half alone. That'd be a pretty big number for a game. So it's really Reed and the passing game that was, what was successful in the second half.
Yeah, and I guess I'd argue that you're not coming back 30 points. You can't really have the run game going, and you can't use the run game to come back when you're down 27 or whatever it was. So
no, but that has happened before when people like break off an 80-yard run or something like that. That can happen where you still get a quick score with that, and especially when you come back from 27 points, like it's not uncommon to have like either a kick return or something like that, like gets a quick score. So it's actually more impressive that it happened all offensively, just passing. So
what do they have, like minus 9 yards? Minus 9 yards running at half. Maybe they just realized that this isn't. It never worked in the first half. There's no point even attempting it in the second half, given how far we have to come back. But on that note, they score 21 points in 13 minutes in the first 13 minutes of the second half. So they're all the way back into this game, and there's still time left in the third quarter. So to your point, if they had any legs on the run game, they could have started using it then. But obviously, South Carolina had. However their run game is constructed and however South Carolina's defense is constructed, those don't pair up well, and A&M just had zero ability. Now, and to give South Carolina credit, there's NFL players all over that defense.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, like both defenses played well. Like no one on South Carolina had more than 30 yards rushing, like they had 121 overall, but it was pretty spread out by a couple of different things. So, but no, like their defense, like in the second half, they played lights out, the Texas A&M defense.
Yeah.
And so in the first half, it wasn't that bad either. So it's just those turnovers really changed. It was 4-1 turnovers.
I'm trying to think. These are two of the half game best defensive performances for each team. Like South Carolina's first half defensive performance is one of the best you'll ever see, and A&M's second half defensive is one of the best you'll ever see. I mean, where they threw a shutout.
Yeah, no, exactly, and it was, and South Carolina held them to 3-0 in the first, to 3 points in the first half. So, yeah, no, they were very good. And the only thing that I would say that comes close to the prowess of both those teams in either half is the 300 yards that Reed got in the second half. Like, that was really impressive.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jesus Christ. I guess we can get to the potential vomit-inducing end of this game when the inexplicable play call. I have no idea. A&M fans maybe. Oh, by the way, I got the old Sarge shirt on. A&M fans, tell me, is this a talking point in the A&M local media or amongst fans? What are they doing when they're down there on the goal line with my notes here? I think it's maybe 3 minutes left in the fourth. They put a trick play in. They put a freshman, Morrow. He takes a direct snap. I think it's 3rd and goal from maybe the 1. I think that's what my notes say. And he throws like a pitch to Reed that then I guess we don't know what was supposed to be because Reed, he just throws it away and then it gets recovered by South Carolina. I'm assuming that was meant to then give Reed a run pass option like out on the edge. We'll never know because they never converted the play and they ended up turning it over. Now in that moment, now Dover knows this. I'm a big fan of taking the points. Now in this moment, you're up by 1. Field goal puts you up by 4, forcing the other team to have to drive down and score a touchdown to win versus a field goal. If you miss, a field goal wins for them. So why? There's no reason not to go for the field goal here. It's not like it's a even game and then a field goal just puts you up by 3 and then they can come down and tie the game with a field goal. When you go up by 4, you're forcing them to drive the length of the field. You have stopped them stone cold all second half. So you have no reason to believe they could drive all the way for a touchdown. Now, I guess the other argument is, and we have no reason to believe they can even get down there for a field goal. But Jesus, take the drive down for a field goal and win. Take that off the board. And this trick play was just, I'm assuming A&M fans all just collectively barfed when they saw that play and how bad it went.
Yeah. So first of all, the decision to not go for the field goal makes no sense because you're absolutely right. If you go up by 4, you're forcing the other team to get a touchdown. It's the same kind of thing that happens in overtime, and that changes it completely. Like for the other team, like knowing you just have to get into field goal range versus having to score are two way different things. So if you're up by 4, you have to get a touchdown. And that really changed everything, puts all the advantage to the defense in that case, right? Trying to stop the other team. If you make the argument like the touchdown's better than a field goal, like you'd be up more, sure. So if you get 7 points, you'd be up 38-30. Guess what? It doesn't change. The other team still has to come down and get a touchdown, and they just have to go for 2 now, and they could tie it. So you're not significantly better ahead with even scoring the touchdown, in my opinion, in terms of the game script and what needs to happen. So the field goal absolutely would have been the better play. So that's crazy that they didn't do that.
Yeah, you change it. It's still a 1-score game. Now in that case, if you get the touchdown, obviously they have to, unless you think you're going for 2 and you're going to somehow.
You would never do that in that case, though.
Right.
You would never do that in that case because if you went for 2 and you didn't get it, then you're up by 7, which is ridiculous because now you're giving the other team has a chance to win now, which sort of doesn't defeats the purpose.
Well, that's just as ridiculous as doing what he did. I don't know. You know what? Maybe it's easy to armchair quarterback this later when the play didn't work. But I guess the thing I'm imagining A&M fans could get on board with is Marcel Reed is in the middle of directing one of the greatest comebacks in the history of the conference, right? And one of the best in college football ever. He's doing it, right? He's doing it. Obviously, everyone's involved, but every play starts with the ball in his hands.
Mhm.
And in one of the most critical plays of the whole game, you remove him from taking the snap and you put a true freshman in there, or a freshman. I don't know if he's a redshirt, but you put a freshman in there to take the snap instead of Reed. Like the best player on the whole field, you take him out of that critical moment, and the freshman has to convert. And it's reasonable. It's no matter how good this guy is, if he's a 5-star, whatever, it's reasonable. He might panic. He might not play great. Hell, we saw Reed panic earlier, but Reed was in mode. Like, this guy is on it right now. Talk about the hot hand. Talk about your cool competitor. He's it's it. The comeback is almost complete, right? All you got to do is finish the game off, and he's out there waiting for a pitch, and against this defensive line that came right through. And the one thing that couldn't happen is ask this kid to deal with like immediate pressure, and he panicked and threw the ball away.
Yeah, no, and I all I can think of is that in practice that play must have looked great, because otherwise I don't know why you would call it with 3 minutes to go in what is happening to be the best comeback in the the history of the SEC. Like, it was just crazy. So that is, it's a really good point about taking the ball out of Reed's hands, considering what he did in the second half.
And I haven't listened to too many things, but I haven't heard many people comment on this. When this game was over, the whole thing to me revolved around how, well, obviously it's the comeback and all that stuff, but the thing that just kept sticking out in my head is like, what was he thinking at the end there? Like, somebody tell me if there's, like, I don't see how the math works out any other way. Then you just conservative, run, kick the field goal. Like, that's the play at that moment. Not a trick play.
You're absolutely right. Like, if South Carolina got possession of that ball, and if they got just a handful of yards to get into field goal range and kicked a field goal to win 33-31, that absolutely would have been like the coach cost the best failure of the best comeback ever. Like, that would have been the number one headline in ESPN. So
yeah, he botched it with that play. Again, we're armchair quarterbacking. If the play worked, maybe they would have called him a genius. It just seemed really risky, especially the way the ball was being turned over left, right, and center in this game.
But even if they kicked the field goal and they went up 34-30, and South Carolina happened to, in less than a minute and a half, come down and score a touchdown to win, you still wouldn't be criticized. Like, that was the right move. Like, it was the right move to go up by 4. You know what I mean? So it's not, your defense gave up like the game winning drive with 2 minutes to go, like, or less than 2 minutes, like, which would suck, but like, it's still, that wasn't the wrong call. Like, that's the crazy part.
Yeah. In that case, you just take your hats off to the other team. You're like, well, all right, you got better on that one, but it didn't turn out that way. He put it all on his defense's shoulders. And he said, hey, you got to stop them from even getting into field goal range. And that is still LaNorris Sellers on the other side of the field. That's a super dangerous quarterback for a get it all done in a minute and a half drive. Yes, you had him bottled up in the second half, but a little bit of that first half magic is still in him. He could still bust a big run here and there. It's not like you're dealing with a statue in the pocket that is just going to be, you could just tee off on him and sit in one kind of defense. This guy is a perpetual run pass option, even by himself with an empty backfield on every play. So you just asked your defense to make, and they did it. They stopped him. And especially what a massive, they end the game. What is on a massive sack, but do they end it? I don't know. They keep pushing him back and pushing him back.
Yeah.
Like,
they got him on fourth down. Yeah. He couldn't convert the fourth down. Yeah.
Was it 4th and 16?
But
I think
the whole thing in football, like, the reason why you don't score when you're open with like a little bit of time left is because the only way you can lose is by giving the ball back to the other team, right? Like, that's the whole principle in football. It's like, if the other team doesn't have, that's why you can just kneel down, because it's better for you not to run a play, because you're potentially going to give the ball back to the other team with a chance to score, like with a chance to win. So that's the whole point why that system works, which is crazy. So I don't know.
All right. Well, what can we say? But anyways, that was just the best game. That's top 10 game of the year. Probably one of the best games I've ever seen. It was just crazy. What can we say about both teams?
Yeah.
We'll start with South Carolina. Sellers absolutely needs to come back to school. He seems to have regressed from last year.
It's just so frustrating because when he's on, it's like like Anthony Richardson. We've talked about this before. When he's on, he's unstoppable. And when it's not working, holy cow, is it hard to watch?
Yep. And I would point to the young guys that are starting in the NFL have a lot of college starts. Guys like Bo Nix. He went to the playoffs in his first season, and he has 55 starts. Dylan Gabriel's finally getting starts at Cleveland, and he's got 50 starts in college. It's this starting for a year and a half or 2 years. That's rare that converts to the NFL, and him playing as bad as he's playing this year, that he's not ready yet. He's making mistakes that you can't, that don't lend him to being a high draft pick with the style of mistakes he's making still right now. And I think he'd benefit. He's going to make money. It's not like he's going to be broke, but I would imagine GMs would be a little bit skeptical after seeing what happened with someone like Richardson. And it's like right now he needs another year at least in college to just refine, get better. Say what you will about his offensive line. It doesn't matter. He himself still makes mistakes. You don't want to spend a high draft pick on with the type of mistakes he's making.
Yeah, he's got his completion percentage is 60% this year as opposed to 65% last year. He has almost the same number of interceptions all of last year that he has right now, is 6 versus 7. And he has half as many touchdown passes as of now compared to last year. So statistically, he's gotten worse. So
Right. And whether or not the team around him has gotten worse is not the point. If you think you're going to be a Heisman candidate and you're going to be a high draft pick, you should be elevating what's around you, and you should be getting better year over year. There's no way you should be dropping off and then going to the draft. So I think it would be great for South Carolina if he comes back. Anyway, so that's
Absolutely.
that. That's what we can say. Oh, and then Dylan Stewart is a complete stud. Fred Johnson. There's as usual, SC is going to send some studs to the NFL on defense. And Nick Harbor, hopefully his leg is okay. That guy's a machine at receiver. So they've got NFL talent that's going to be going into the draft. So it's a bummer of a year given how good last year was. But hopefully Sellers comes back and they can put some kind of offensive line around him. But moving on to A&M, do you think that first half performance disqualifies Reed from Heisman candidacy, or do you think how good of a comeback it was overcomes how ugly that first half really was?
Yeah, I think the comeback overcomes that because it's a Heisman Trophy winner can have a bad game and still win because there's 12, 13 games this season, to overcome that difference. The fact that he was able to do it in the same game is really impressive against a good defense. You know what I mean? So 300 yards and a half and 3 touchdowns in a half in a second half to bring your team back to win 31-30 to me is a Heisman moment. So.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not a bad game. It's a bad half. And it's the right half to have as the bad half, the first one. And
exactly.
Right. And it'd be way worse if the whole thing fell apart. Right. And that's kind of indicative of this team. They get better as the game goes on. And the fact that he came back and overcame all of those mistakes and just turned into Superman in the second half, that's a good sign. A team that can survive that bad of a half, it would be reasonable for them to fold up. I just don't know how you still have the mentality. It's just unbelievable that they came back. And that's what championship type teams do. They get better as the game goes on. And that's exactly what these guys did. And they did exactly what had to happen. And everyone did it. The offense just lit up. The defense went into complete shutdown mode. It all hands on deck. And they just, okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and win this game in the half. And they did. So everyone, like, that's another step or another brick in the building of a championship team. Overcoming that is such a good experience to have going into the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, it's critical. Like, and like you said, in college, it's normal not to come back from, 27 points down. That's what the graphic they had at the end is that I think it was SEC teams are 0-286, like, when they're down 27 points. And so it's normal for a team like not to come back from that. It's almost guaranteed. And part of it is statistically, it's hard to come back from that, but mentally it's hard to come back from that. Like you've had your butt handed to you for an entire half, so like, why would you try extra hard the second half? And so it really speaks to the coaching staff and the character of the players on the team. Like it's an epic comeback. It's an epic comeback.
Yeah. And I almost think this is better than if it was just like 45-13 blowout. Like this, this is better for A&M moving forward.
Absolutely. You've got a lot of coachable moments that happen in the first half that you're going to be able to really concentrate on at practice. And, and even if you play, they've got Samford, I think, next, but then they've got a big game against Texas, and then they're going to be able to refer to some stuff like we can't go down early, and might not be able to come back against a team like this. Like that, this is really going to go a long way helping them later.
And you have to believe they now have the belief. It doesn't matter how bad it goes in the first half. We can win, because I can't even imagine a half going worse than that. Like it's almost statistically impossible to play worse than that again.
Yeah, and you're right. This is going to be if they go down by 10 or 14 or something in a really important game, like in a conference championship game or in a playoff game. Like that's not going to faze them now, which is a good thing, because then they can come back and they have the ability to come back.
Oh, yeah, they might just kneel it down a couple times and punt on third down. Be like, we got this. we can go down by more than this. We'll come back. This is nothing. Yeah. Anyways, well, good for A&M. That's championship DNA right there. Unbelievable win. Jesus Christ. I'll take that game 10 times out of 10. That was a hell of a game. Is that everything you got on your notes?
Yep.
All right, me too. All right, so, if you're still with us, we appreciate you checking out the channel. We know it's small. We just started it last year. So if you'd like to support us, a like and a subscribe goes a long way, and we'd super appreciate it. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.